After dozens of hours in the muck and despair of Velen, The Witcher 3 finally takes us north towards Redania, across the Pontar River to the bustling trading city of Novigrad. Economically, strategically and politically advantageous, it's a treasure, and now with the pressure of war, its independence is at risk as outside forces seek to seize the port for themselves. As criminals, churches, kings and emperors compete for control, one group are set to lose everything. Geralt arrives to a burning at the stake of a changeling and a witch. Here in Novigrad, bolstered by King Radovid's support and the fear of approaching southern invaders, the Church of the Eternal Fire has seized the city by the throat and stoked prejudices. Non-humans, as the game calls them, along with mages, are made out as the real enemy, while Nilfgaard remains at a safe distance. Fire is a pretty apt name for their church. They spread fast and destroy everything they touch. As an outsider and mutant, Geralt falls between the two groups, but there's no ambiguity about whose side he's on. Spoiler, it's not the arseholes.
Got the courage to repeat that slander to my face?
Readily. You are a mutant, a freak, a useless relic of a bygone age that should be burned like a withered branch.
How many people's lives have you saved? From Bruxay, from Leshens?
That has no bearing.
Asked you a question. How many? There's something to think about, folks.
Thing is, they present these non-humans and mages as invaders. The high walls of Novigrad speak to a city happy to sever itself from the rest of the world. Yet within them, creatures of all kinds have lived side by side with humans for longer than the Church of Eternal Fire has existed. In Little Sarah and others, we see creatures fully capable of living alongside humans, but left as easy scapegoats for their other problems. When a creature does harm, it's often no greater a crime than those committed by humans. Trapped in a confined space, invaders at the gates, it's all too easy to rile up the citizens of Novigrad though, despite its history as an almost cosmopolitan place. The Witcher understands the way prejudices work, the way in which superiors make big displays that ripple out through the masses until the panic grows and they get to look like the big damn heroes. The Church's interests are made blatantly obvious mere minutes after arriving in Novigrad.
What, but sir, what's the offence? This is some sorcerer's bitchy shop.
Think that gives you the right to steal her property?
Well, sorcerers, mages of all types are outlaws.
But by law, the Temple Guard takes possession of their belongings, and the rule of law still holds in Novigrad.
There is just one problem. This is a bit of the game about racism that features nothing but white people. See, no matter how nuanced your exploration of prejudice and its root causes, the way it weaponizes and is wielded by the political elite, if you use fantasy races as a stand-in for the plight of marginalised groups, you're othering them. They're literally called non-humans. So it's left to the game's fantasy folks to represent the issues of marginalised groups, which is a problem, because now those issues are attached to fantastical elements that can be easily dismissed by people who don't want to examine their own prejudices. People of colour would come to The Witcher with its Heart of Stone expansion, but that doesn't deal with prejudice at all. But there is one kind of division in Novigrad that I think the game does get right. See, it's not just changelings and elves and that getting the wrong end of the stick. After a secret order, the Lodge of Sorceresses, was discovered to be pulling the strings of politics across the continent at the end of the last game, we see Radovid and other rulers use this as justification to begin persecuting mages. And the thing is, it's really a persecution of women. All the rulers in this world are men, most of your lords and advisors. Magic is the element in the Witcher's world that allows women to tip the scales in their favour in a medieval-themed world that inherits the misogyny of the real-world period it draws on. And so we saw the Lodge of Sorceresses, a group established in the novels and given more prominence in the second game, begin to exert power with the aim of countering the impulsive whims of short-sighted kings. Then, after they're discovered, the witch hunts begin. All mages are persecuted, of course, but the game doesn't hide that the most prominent mages in this world are women. What's more, that Radovid has a vendetta against the sorceresses, and Philippa Eilhart in particular.
Radovid doesn't forgive. Not anything, not anyone, and especially not the sorceress of the Lodge.
Find Philippa Eilhart. That's my wish. I ordered her eyes gouged out once. But apparently her blindness troubles her not.
The other mages caught in this are simply collateral damage and a plan to suppress the power of women. Women have seized one kind of power, mastered it like none of their male peers, and having tried to use it to make the world better for themselves, are violently hunted down and punished for it. Triss Merigold, Geralt's old flame, has lost almost everything.
Day in the dark.
So, what do you think? Ratcatcher? It's a long way to fall from being advisor to Temeria's king.
So too had Kira Metz. But she's surviving, organising a resistance effort to help mages flee the reach of Radovid. Geralt can be an aid in her plans, but the truth made clear is that while Triss appreciates the help, she's fully capable of fulfilling her plans all by herself. Geralt fulfills the role of an ally here, not the hero. This is very much Geralt's role in most of the game. As an ally to marginalised groups, to aid them in their struggles and stick up for them where nobody else will. But the groups in question aren't helpless, they're already fighting their battles. Their survival does not depend on Geralt. Choosing to help them is simply a matter of what's right. An important test of this comes when Triss forms a plan to get information about Dandelion for the witch hunters, and take care of their leader, Caleb Menga. She's to be captured and tortured as a ruse to buy Geralt time to confront Menga. The success of the plan hinges on sticking to Triss's plan, and not breaking it so Geralt can play at being hero. Triss is prepared to make the sacrifice, and when the time comes, take care of things herself.
He say where Dandelion is?
Yes, but
She doesn't need Geralt's rescue, just his help. But it's not enough to turn the tide against the eternal fire. In the end, the mages flee Novigrad. For now, at least, prejudice and hatred wins out, ready to simply set its eyes on a new target to punish. Novigrad is no longer the haven it once was.